Minister breaks ground for early childhood institution in Olympic Gardens, opens police station and kickstart housing construction at Longville Park, Clarendon, and pledges support for new Commissioner of Police. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Prime Minister Andrew Holness reaffirmed his administration's support for the police force following the loss of 2 members at the hands of criminal elements over the weekend. He said the state would continue to provide support to the police through the provision of resources and legislation. While expressing condolence to the family of Constable Leighton Hanson and Sergeant Dale Thompson, Mr. Holness called on Jamaicans to assist efforts to eliminate crime and violence in the society. In a release Sunday, Mr. Holness also urged members of the security forces not to lose heart, but to remain professional and committed to safety and security on the island. On Thursday, Prime Minister Holness chaired a meeting of the National Security Council. The council received a brief from newly appointed Commissioner of Police George Quayle. And on Friday, Mr. Holness was at Quayle's installation ceremony as the island's 29th Police Commissioner. Earlier in the day, Mr. Holness was at Longville Park, Clarendon, bringing government's commitment of housing and increased security to residents. He broke ground for the $366 million 85-unit Longville Park Phase 2A. The development will have 43 studio units and 42 serviced lots.
We're going to build housing that you can be proud of, to have them integrated into communities. Housing which around you can create a society.
And Mr. Holness commissioned into service the Longville Park Police Station.
Security is an integral part of community development. Communities cannot develop, they cannot grow, they cannot sustain themselves if security is absent.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness broke ground for one of 2 early childhood institutions to be built through grant funding from the Chinese government. The schools at Olympic Gardens in St. Andrew and Morant Estate in St. Thomas are being built at a cost of 43.12 million Chinese yuan.
I want the community to protect what is going on here, to make sure that the project can finish on time, that the material that is here to build builds here.
The Olympic Gardens Infant School is slated for completion in 17 months from the commencement of the project. Project manager is the National Education Trust, while Abbey Construction Group Company Limited will execute the construction on behalf of the government of the People's Republic of China. By Thursday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness was in Western Jamaica visiting Violet Moss Brown, the oldest person in the world. During his visit, Mr. Holness gave the 117-year-old a Medal of Appreciation and a citation at her Dwanvale Trelawney home.
You have brought attention to our senior citizens. You have also raised awareness in the minds of people that if they live a good life when they're young, that they do the things necessary to preserve their health, that they can live. I take note in your statement that you live long because you work hard. That a life of robust, strong living and exercise and work is good for us, makes us strong. So your years will be multiplied by that, and you have demonstrated that. I wish for you continued life.
And while in Trelawney, Mr. Holness opened the newly renovated municipal building and shared his plans for the parish. The Prime Minister declared that Falmouth could be the best little township in the Caribbean, but it required residents to shun the growing culture of violence and harassment, as well as the lack of care for the environment, buildings and architecture.
Every single resident of the town, every person who depends on the town for their economic survival, employment, custom and commerce, should protect the town. But you do that by ensuring that your town is not a violent place, that crime is not taking over your town, and that anyone who wants to come and walk around and view your town can feel free to do so.
Back in Kingston, Prime Minister Holness journeyed to the National Gallery to view the works of the 94 Jamaican artists selected for the biennial exhibitions.
Jamaica has a very wide and very deep cultural history, which is reflected in our art. It's not so much Jamaican art reflecting Jamaican life, but it is also Jamaican art projecting, sometimes not even necessarily connected to Jamaican life.
The courtesy room at the office of the Prime Minister received some amount of traffic this past week. On Monday, he welcomed the delegation from the Carib Cement Company. Mr. Holness was visited Wednesday by Reverend Anne Henning Byfield, Bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And on Saturday, the Prime Minister was joined by the Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister to meet with a delegation from the Indian High Commission. The countries are celebrating 55 years of diplomatic relations in 2017. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for more of the news coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.